Welcome to ClubhouseNews.com. You're tuned in to Clubhouse News Weekend for the week ending in Saturday, April 12th. I'm Haley Ann.
And I'm Jesse. The world's largest democratic vote began this past week in India, and it will go on for the next 5 weeks. Why does the vote take 5 weeks? Well, India is the world's second most populated country, with nearly 1.2 billion people. And 2/3 of their population, a whopping 815 million people, are expected to vote in this year's Indian election. Compare that to the usual 120 million people who vote in the USA's presidential elections, and add in the fact that many of India's population live in places with no electricity and no voting machines, you can see why India's vote needs some extra time.
You gotta fight for your right to vote!
Here in the USA, tax day is coming up on April 15th, and while that might not mean anything to you now, it's important to understand what taxes are and why we pay them. In the USA, most working people have money taken from each paycheck to pay for incoming taxes to the government. When the Stamp Act of 1765 tried forcing Americans to purchase tax stamps for common items like newspapers and playing cards, the colonies rebelled.
People do complain, say their taxes are high. What am I to get in return?
And while we won our freedom from England, we didn't win our freedom from paying taxes. So while no one really likes to pay taxes, our country couldn't function properly without them. The big argument about taxes is not whether we should pay them, it's how much we should each have to pay.
And it's only right that we ask everyone to pay their fair share. Pay our fair share in taxes in a way that is fair.
This week, the Lyndon B. Johnson Presidential Library hosted a 3-day Civil Rights Summit in honor of the upcoming 50th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act. In 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act into law.
President Johnson calls for all Americans to back what he calls a turning point in history.
Let us lay aside irrelevant differences and make our nation whole.
This act gave people rights that we don't even think about today, such as any race being able to eat in a restaurant, use a public restroom. Speeches were made by President Barack Obama and former Presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, and George W. Bush. And while their speeches celebrated how much progress America has made since 1964,
Because of the Civil Rights Movement, because of the laws President Johnson signed, new doors of opportunity and education swung open for everybody.
they also pointed out that we should keep working together to make our country even stronger.
In the words of the President, it restricts no one's freedom so long as he respects the rights of others.
It's no secret that the USA and Russia have been at odds ever since Russia began trying to take over the Ukraine. Now the tension has even started impacting areas normally kept outside of politics, like outer space. At the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, better known as NASA, employees are being told to cut ties with Russian representatives.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
This comes as a shock because the space agency tends to remain politically neutral. But in light of recent events, NASA is no longer able to communicate with Russia. This means no more trips to or visitors from Russia, no teleconferences, and no emails, except for those needed to keep things in space running smoothly. Now that's out of this world.
Oh no!
Hi, I'm Devin with this week's Science and Tech News. We all know that space is a pretty cool place, and after what happened this week, it seems more amazing than ever. First, the sun put on an amazing solar flare show. A solar flare is an enormous burst of radiation from the sun that sends energy and light zooming into space. The power of a solar flare is equal to 100 megatons of hydrogen bombs going off at the same time. These flares can cause storms that black out satellites here on Earth. But luckily, this week's flares were not a problem. And speaking of our home planet, we were perfectly aligned with the Sun and Mars on Tuesday night. Every 2 years, the red planet reaches a point in its orbit known as opposition, where it can be lined up with the sun and Earth. Mars can end up becoming visible in the night sky right around sunset in the east. It then stays up all night and finally sets in the west just as the sun rises the following morning. If you didn't catch it on Tuesday, don't worry, because it will be visible all month.
We're the first to ever stand on Mars.
Now you're the biggest idiot on 2 planets.
Scientists have been trying to figure out how and when the moon was formed for years. Well, according to a new study, it may have been born within 100 million years of the formation of our solar system. Researchers currently believe that a speeding body named Theia struck Earth and caused a piece to break off and form the moon. In order to find out when this happened, scientists used a computer program to simulate the birth of the solar system. The results showed that the moon is probably about 4.47 billion years old. Wow, that's a lot of birthdays. The ocean is filled with mysteries that scientists are unable to solve because submarines are unable to visit certain parts of the ocean. Well, a team of researchers just created a new underwater vehicle that will change the way the ocean is explored. Introducing the Crabster. This big-bodied 6-legged vehicle is modeled after a crab, but it's much bigger and much stronger. The Crabster is 7 feet long, 4 feet tall, it can carry more than 1,400 pounds at a time, and it can dive as deep as 650 feet. The only downside is the Crabster only moves at a speed of 1 centimeter per second. They probably should have named it the Turtlester instead.
Slow down! I want to get there, but I want to get there alive!
3D printers, which can print just about any physical object imaginable, are being used in industries ranging from medical fields to toys for kids. And now they're making their way into cafes.
Okay, so I'm gonna need a soy breve quad mocha nut latte.
Absolutely.
Barcelona, Spain just opened a Fab Cafe, Europe's first 3D printing cafe shop, that lets their customers print their very own designs while enjoying a cup of coffee. To get in on the 3D printing fun, a Fab Cafe visitor can create a design on a laptop or a smartphone. Then, they send it to a 3D printer where the machine uses a combination of lasers and material layering to bring a concept to life. Some of the most popular inventions customers make are jewelry or quirky toys. I wish my local Starbucks had one of those.
That's $37.
Awesome!
I'm Erin with this week's health and nutrition news. Did you know that early childhood memories, like your first day of preschool, can impact how your life turns out all the way into adulthood?
School! Wake up! Wake up! Come on, first day of school!
I don't want to go to school. 5 more minutes.
Well, a new study found that life events that happen as early as age 3 can have long-lasting effects on our sense of identity and the way we create relationships. The study showed that many people suffer from childhood amnesia, which is when we can't remember early childhood events.
Which way did he go, George? Which way did he go?
Apparently, it is possible to hold on to these early memories if you make an effort to talk about them as you grow up. By engaging with your mind's memory banks and reflecting on your past, you can lead a more self-aware and psychologically healthy life.
Hey, I've seen a boat.
You have?
Uh-huh, and it passed by not too long ago.
A white one?
Hi, I'm Dory.
Where?
The weather's starting to warm up outside, which means it's the perfect time to go outside and get active.
Woo! This feels good. I actually feel a lot better. Thanks, Schmidt.
After a long winter indoors, you might find that you don't have the stamina or the physical strength that allows you to continue doing something for a long time that you had last summer. Don't worry. Your stamina isn't gone forever. You just have to build it back up. Start by running a mile. When that becomes a cinch, try increasing it to 2 miles. Don't feel like you need to compare yourself to other people, because trying to show off by pushing your body way beyond its limits can be dangerous to your health. So, take it slow and work at a pace that is comfortable for you. Increasing your stamina is great for your health. It makes your heart stronger, increases your energy levels, and helps improve your brain power. Think, think, think! Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and when you're running short on time in the morning, cereal is a quick and easy breakfast choice.
They're great!
We all have our favorite cereals, but did you know that the character on the box could be influencing your decision?
Say what?
Researchers say that cereals with characters like Tony the Tiger, the Trix Rabbit, and Toucan Sam are strategically stocked on shelves at a child's eye level. Then, when a child makes eye contact with the character on the box, he makes a connection with the character, and they're more likely to ask their mom for that particular cereal. It's important to remember that just because the box looks good doesn't mean that what's in the box is good for you. So, the next time you're shopping for cereal, make sure you avoid Tony the Tiger's eyes. Wake up, Bagheera! Muscles are amazing tissues. They generate force to help us move, get stronger the more they are used, and even repair themselves when damaged. Now, for the first time ever, scientists have developed an artificial muscle that actually works. First, scientists took some stem cells from a mouse's muscle and used them to grow more stem cells. When they implanted the lab creation inside a mouse, it worked just like any other muscle. This is definitely a reason to celebrate because this process may help scientists create artificial muscles for humans in the future.
Hi, I'm Nicholas with this week's Sports Report. March Madness, that's the NCAA's college basketball tournament, is officially over.
But if you close your eyes.
The unlikely winner, the University of Connecticut Huskies, were crowned this year's national champions after beating the Kentucky Wildcats 60-54 last Monday night.
With a UConn championship. Once again are in basketball heaven.
UConn Shabazz Napier brought his A game with 22 points, and Ryan Boatwright threw in 14 points, giving the Huskies their 4th national title. Seeded number 7 in their region, the Huskies are the lowest seed to win the championship since the number 8 Villanova Wildcats in 1985. Congratulations, Huskies! And that's not the only good news for the University of Connecticut this week. The UConn women's basketball team also became national champions one night after the men's team.
But it was perfection. 78-0. Connecticut has won the national championship again.
After UConn's epic double win, Husky superstar Shabazz Napier comments that he goes starving because he can't afford food has helped reignite a debate on college athletes.
We do have hungry nights that we don't have enough money to get food, and sometimes, needed money is needed.
Should they be paid for their efforts and not just with a full ride scholarship?
Big debate in the wake of Kevin Ware's injury. Should college athletes be paid?
This isn't the first time this hot topic has come up. In fact, last year, the NCAA had to deal with Texas A&M star quarterback Johnny Manziel for selling autographs, a rules no-no. Colleges say they want student athletes to focus on schoolwork, and that offering payment might turn college athletics into more of a business, like professional sports, and destroy the college experience by making everything about money, at the expense of education.
There's so much money being made.
Others disagree and say that universities are making millions off of these athletes and argue that student athletes should receive more than just a scholarship in return.
You just tell me, what can I do for you?
Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money!
And while it doesn't seem like this debate will end anytime soon, it certainly gives us all something to think about.
Remember, way back when you were a kid, it wasn't just about the money, was it? Was it?
Hi, I'm Haley Ann back with this week's entertainment news. Dolphin lovers rejoice because Dolphin Tale 2 is set to hit theaters September 19th.
I mean, she likes you.
Well, imagine my delight.
For those who don't remember, the first Dolphin Tale movie told the story of Winter, the bottlenose dolphin who was caught in a crab trap that completely crushed and destroyed her tail. Luckily, a team of specialists who make artificial limbs built a man-made fin that would allow her to swim properly. Dolphin Tale 2 is sure to be just as inspiring as the first.
Jump!
Awesome! This week, classic Hollywood lost Mickey Rooney, who is known by many as the original child star.
I'd clean the garret and feed the parrot. You won't go to the dance, and I don't know why, and I don't want it.
Rooney is known for films like Babes in Arms, Breakfast at Tiffany's, and more recently, The Muppets. Let's not forget about his television career. He appeared in dozens of shows and TV movies from 1954 to 2009. And guess what? It is rumored that Rooney's short stature and elf-like appearance inspired Walt Disney to create Mickey Mouse. Mickey Rooney may be gone, but his memory will never be forgotten.
Great to stay up late. Good morning to you.
It's time to get crafty with the new Craftsy Classes app. This app has hundreds of crafting tutorials that are neatly divided into categories like knitting, cake decoration, quilting, sewing, and paper crafts. Depending on the category, you can pick from a selection of tutorial videos that will explain in detail how to do each craft. And guess what? Most of the tutorials are absolutely free.
Now Deb's finished her quilt in time for Christmas. Craftsy.com.
Hey all you Rio fans out there, it's time to go see Rio 2. All of your favorite Rio characters are back, and they brought along some new friends. The movie is packed with new songs, and the dance sequences will have you dancing right along with the characters. If you're looking for a family-friendly movie to see this weekend, Rio 2 should be at the top of your list.
No, not the whole box. Get that out of your mouth.
Unbelievable.
Keep celebrating.
Hi, I'm Gabby with your news from around the world. Palm Sunday, which happens the Sunday before Easter, and it commemorates Jesus' entry into Jerusalem.
They took branches of palm trees and went out to meet him, shouting that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem.
In many Christian churches, Palm Sunday includes a procession of worshipers carrying palms that represent the palm branches that were scattered in front of Jesus as he rode into Jerusalem. And the day after Palm Sunday, the Jewish holiday Passover begins. Passover celebrates the liberation of the Israelites from Egyptian slavery.
Lashana Haba'a B'Yerushalayim, or in English, next year grant us to be in Jerusalem.
Next, we head to India, where Buddhists just celebrated Vesak Day, which is the birth of Gautama Buddha, the founder of Buddhism. Buddhism, which is a religion that focuses on inner peace and enlightenment and not on a god, began in northeastern India and is the main religion in many Asian countries. Vesak Day is celebrated in many ways, including lighting and releasing lotus lanterns. And now, over to New Zealand, where England's Prince William, Duchess Kate, and their royal baby Prince George are getting friendly with the locals. The royals, who are visiting New Zealand for a 3-week tour, arrived at the government house, where they were treated to a traditional welcoming ceremony that involved hani. Basically, when you say hello to someone, you bump noses with them. I wonder if baby George did the hani.
Hello, Governor.
Hi, Governor.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chloe, back with this week's animal news. Hummingbirds are adorable little creatures, and according to a new study, we might start seeing a lot more of them. Based on research where scientists studied the DNA of 284 different hummingbird species, researchers believe that the number of hummingbird species is going to double over the next several million years. This may seem like a lot of time, but in terms of the evolutionary clock, it'll be as if the tiny birds are popping up left and right. It's no secret that animals have senses that humans don't, like a dog's super smelling ability.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Or or a bat's use of sound waves to see. Sometimes, however, animals are given more credit than they deserve. Like when people at Yellowstone National Park thought a group of bison were predicting a volcanic eruption. How did this happen? Well, a recent video showed wild bison running very fast around Yellowstone, which is home to the world's largest supervolcano. Nervous viewers watching the frolicking bison thought they were witnessing bison running for their lives. Luckily, the bison were just enjoying a nice spring day, so we don't have to worry about the volcano erupting just yet. Have you ever wondered why zebras have stripes? Do the stripes keep them cool in hot temperatures? Nope, that's not it. Do they confuse the eyes of hungry lions? Wrong again. According to new scientific research, zebras are striped to repel blood-sucking, disease-carrying vampire flies. See, vampire flies are attracted to shadowy surfaces, and they don't like landing on bright spots. Kind of like how vampires in movies don't like sunlight. The sunlight! When both dark and light are mixed together like the stripes of a zebra, the bloodsuckers get so confused that they actually have trouble flying. Researchers also found that in areas where there are more flies, the zebras actually have more stripes. Wow! Talk about self-defense!
Ta-da! That guy's got talent! Bet you haven't seen that one before.
This past week, the world's largest democratic vote began in India, with more than 800 million people voting there over the next 5 weeks.
Tax day is coming on April 15th for most adults, and while everyone in the U.S. may not agree with them, they're necessary to pay for keeping our country running.
A summit was held at the LBJ Presidential Library to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Which made it illegal to discriminate against people because of their sex, race, color, religion, or national origin.
And tensions between the U.S. and Russia caused NASA to sever ties with Russian representatives.
With so much going on in our world today, it's easy to lose sight of what's important in life. But here are a couple of stories to remind you to always follow your dreams.
After spending his childhood learning to read and play music, former homeless teen James Matthews entered the 2014 American Protégé International Piano and Strings Competition. And guess what? His entry won an honorable mention and he earned a spot to perform at Carnegie Hall in New York City. James says this is a dream come true.
And listen to this. 17-year-old Kwasi Enin was recently accepted to all 8 Ivy League colleges. He applied to all 8 with the hopes of being accepted into 1 or 2. He was surprised when he got into all 8 schools, but his school counselor says with Kwasi's academic record and extracurricular activities, any school would be lucky to have him. I guess it just goes to show that hard work really does pay off. Remember to stay tuned in to what's happening by going to our website at www.clubhousenews.com.
You'll find in-depth stories, videos, and much more. So until next time,
stay on top of the world with clubhousenews.com.